good soldier gets your times cut. Being a good soldier is coming to your hometown where you cut your teeth, we got started, and not being on the card. It's all about viral moments now. That's what it's all about. Viral moments. Well, Guy, everybody's been telling me that I gotta become undeniable. And as soon as it happens, they ignore it and they shut it down. You want a viral moment? On behalf of all of the true fans of professional wrestling, Guy with the suit and tie in the truck, go fuck yourself. That's from Killer Kross. No.
A push is a wrestling term that means a chance. When fans call for a wrestler to be pushed, they typically refer to someone who has been forgotten or seldomly used, calling for them to get their chance in the spotlight, an opportunity to prove their worth and showcase everything they have. In 1996, a young man by the name of Stephen James Williams cut a promo that not only captivated the audience, but propelled them to bring signs to the following show that paid homage to that very promo. Vince McMahon was not only unaware of how much the promo had gotten over at the time, he didn't even want Williams to cut promos to begin with. That man would go on to become one of the company's most vital assets during the Attitude Era, otherwise known as Stone Cold Steve Austin. In 2006, Philip Jack Brooks joined Ohio Valley Wrestling and would later become a part of the ECW brand during its WWE run. Despite the company having little faith in his ability to become a star, the fans not only showed up in droves, but cheered him on whenever he was involved in a match. Then, at Survivor Series in 2006, Brooks was involved in a 5 vs 5 match that put him on the same team as D-Generation X and the Hardy Boys, two of the WWE's most popular teams in history. Yet, as the fans settled in, they weren't chanting for DX or for the Hardys. They were chanting one name, CM Punk. At the 2014 Royal Rumble, after Batista had earned his spot in the main event at WrestleMania 30, and the champion headed into the show as Randy Orton, fans were chanting something else entirely. It wasn't Let's Go Orton. It certainly wasn't Let's Go Batista. They weren't even chanting any specific name. The chants that echoed in the arena were simply, yes, yes, yes. Brian Lloyd Danielson, otherwise known by his WWE moniker of Daniel Bryan, was the only one the fans wanted, and WrestleMania main event be damned. Bryan not only found a way in, but thanks to the fans and their support, he won in the main event of WrestleMania 30 and gave us one of the best moments in the last quarter century. You see, every 10 years or so, wrestling fans begin to take notice of an individual's lack of spotlight and use their voice to shine it on that person. In 2025, one name is growing in interest within the WWE universe, and it's a name unlike any other before. He's an excellent speaker, yet isn't given more than 2 minutes each week. He's a fantastic in-ring worker, but rarely gets ring time on Monday Night Raw. He's a professional wrestler that fans want to see more of on a week-to-week basis, but is shackled to backstage segments. His name is Karrion Kross, and it's time to have that discussion on a much-deserved push. In 2020, Karrion Kross and his real-life partner and on-screen valet, Scarlett, joined the WWE's developmental brand known as NXT. His debut introduced a massive new name under the black and gold brand. Kross was a large human being. He was intimidating, but most importantly, he captured the interest of anyone that saw him walk by. He certainly had a look and the wrestling capability to back up his aggressive approach. If that wasn't enough, the apocalyptic vibe of his entrance sent shivers down your spine, which included Scarlett lip-syncing to the entrance music. In every sense of the term, Karrion Kross was the total package, and it was as clear to anyone with a set of eyes. Thankfully, the eyes in charge also recognized his impact in NXT, and at TakeOver XXX, just 3 months following his in-ring debut, Karrion Kross defeated Keith Lee to become the new NXT champion. Unfortunately, disaster struck in the match as Kross separated his shoulder, and due to the length of recovery time, Kross was forced to vacate the title. Kross would return in December, sparking a new feud with the likes of Damian Priest and Finn Balor, and celebrated the new year in 2021 by defeating Balor to win his second NXT championship. This time around, Kross was healthy and unstoppable. He was so dominant that his one and only loss occurred on August 22nd in a match against Samoa Joe, which would happen to be his final NXT match of this run. Kross was main roster bound and ready to take over the wrestling world. To say Karrion Kross was set up for failure the moment he was up on the main roster would be an understatement, to say the least. While still NXT champion, Karrion Kross took on Jeff Hardy in a match that was slotted to go 10 minutes, but was unfortunately cut short due to time constraints. In an interview with Coffin Radio, Kross recalls the moment he was given word about the time cut. As soon as my entrance was done, the referee came up to me and he was like, "Dude, they just cut all your time off your match. You have like 90 seconds. While Kross maintained a strong composure and rolled with the blows, things soured even further when a puzzling choice to give him a new gladiator look and subtract Scarlett from his side left not only fans confused, but WWE alumni Mick Foley and Booker T as well, with the former stating his character was greatly watered down and even made a joke of. On November 4th, 2021, Kross and Scarlett were released from the WWE. 1 year of promise, 2 NXT championship runs, and a main roster push, all gone in an instant. Karrion Kross was no more, but something bigger was lurking in the shadows. After serving his 90-day no-compete clause, Kross returned to MLW after time away from the promotion that spanned 2 years. He began to do what the likes of Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes had done before him, rebuild and come back stronger than ever. He didn't need to get bigger or better, he just needed the world around him to pay more attention. Yet despite this time away from the company, the goal was never to return to the WWE. In an interview with Chris Van Vliet, Kross recalls the times while on the indies that he would have good days and bad days. I believe in karma. I believe in all things being energy, positive and negative. Align yourself with good karma, align yourself with good energy, and positive things will happen. And positive things happened indeed. Between July and August of 2022, less than a calendar year after his release, Kross would get a familiar phone call. On August 5th, 2022, Karrion Kross and Scarlett were back on WWE programming. This time around, Kross was sporting some hair, but carried with him the same sinister energy that WWE fans had grown familiar with during his first run with the company. The timing could not have been more fitting for Kross to return, as allegations within the company regarding Vince McMahon had spread, leading to him stepping down from the role and eventually passing off creative control to Paul Triple H Levesque. The same Paul Levesque that was a firm believer in Karrion Kross. This time was different. Scarlett would remain by his side, goofy gladiator gimmicks were kept in the trash heap, and Karrion Kross was allowed to be Karrion Kross. Kross may not have touched gold during his second run with the main roster, but he was at least receiving television time and competing in big matches. After losing to Bobby Lashley in the opening round of the 2023 United States Championship #1 Contender Tournament, it was time for Karrion Kross to form an alliance and get back at those who prevented him from championship success. At the 2024 SmackDown New Year's Resolution event, Karrion Kross would attack Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits with the help from NXT's Authors of Pain. This sparked a new beginning in Kross's second run with the WWE, as he now became the leader of the Final Testament. The only thing holding them back was a pure disconnect from the audience. Their entrances to the ring were met with silence. Their programs with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, as well as the New Day, were met with simmering interest. On the bright side, Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain got a WrestleMania moment that was well earned, but the following program with the New Day was met with unfortunate circumstances, as newly introduced Odyssey Jones had been released, and shortly after, the Authors of Pain and Paul Ellering had followed. Karrion Kross and Scarlett did everything to make the Final Testament work, but the painful failure left them alone once more. It was time once again for Karrion Kross to redesign himself in a way that would get him back on television. Following the disbanding of the Final Testament, Karrion Kross and Scarlett would be primarily featured in backstage segments. While this may have been underwhelming for some superstars who had previously seen ring time, Karrion Kross was determined to make things work in a fascinating way. His constant chipping away at the mental side of wrestlers like Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston would eventually lead to them turning on one another, ultimately leading into the removal of Big E from the group and a turn to the dark side. The same dark side that Kross was trying to introduce to other superstars such as Sami Zayn and AJ Styles. Was it coincidence that Kross was constantly being spotted in the background, lurking and glaring at various members of the WWE roster? Or was there a bigger game he was playing, that most were unaware of? Only Karrion Kross can answer that, but one thing for certain is that Kross is enjoying himself as the devil on the shoulder of anyone who will lend an ear. Do you hear that? It's the growing reactions from the crowd that are continuing to provide an answer to my question. Is it time to push Karrion Kross? The answer is yes. When Randy Orton was left without an opponent for WrestleMania 41, rumblings began to pick up that Karrion Kross could be a viable opponent. With no storyline occurring outside the weekly pickings of stars like AJ Styles and Sami Zayn, this was a great opportunity for Kross to get a second WrestleMania spot in 2 years. That spot, unfortunately, went to Joe Hendry. Karrion Kross was ignored, and Karrion Kross knew. Before that, Karrion Kross took part in the Andre the Giant Battle Royale, in which he would be eliminated, and with the loss, fans began to boo. They didn't want to see him go, and many in attendance were rooting for him to win the whole thing. Despite the cries of disapproval, Karrion Kross was ignored, and Karrion Kross knew. After WrestleMania 41, Kross joined an after-show with host Sam Roberts and Megan Morant and spent all of 3 minutes venting his frustrations. He had watched a WrestleMania go down in his hometown, give a match to a non-wrestler, and feature a celebrity in the main event, yet Kross was given scraps. In 3 minutes, Karrion Kross and Scarlett showed the entire wrestling world what's been in front of them this entire time. A professional wrestler that is solid in the ring, can cut an excellent promo regardless of whether it's shoot, scripted, or a blend of both, and has the charisma to cut it. He had been held back for far too long, and it was time that he put everyone on notice. This wasn't Karrion Kross anymore, it was Killer Kross, and he meant business. Sometimes that's all a wrestler needs. A few minutes to cut a promo that sticks in the minds of wrestling fans forever, a presence in the ring that gets the fans chanting their name, a movement that brings an entire fan base by their side in support of their success. Wrestlers need that opportunity, and those who get it and catch fire never look back. It starts with a few chants here and there. Then signs begin to show up in the crowd. Their presence draws more of a reaction each week. It's a snowball effect that only gets bigger, and eventually, it becomes too big to ignore. For Karrion Kross, his time is now. He's proven his worth enough to at least get that opportunity and has busted his ass for many years. As Scarlett herself said, "Do you guys know we have 25 years of combined experience?" That kind of experience is invaluable to the wrestling space, and the WWE can no longer afford to fumble someone like Karrion Kross. It's time to push Karrion Kross to the moon. Do it now and place the ball in Karrion Kross's court and watch him slam dunk his opportunity the first chance he gets. He's likable, regardless of what role he plays. He's genuine to the point that whenever he speaks, people listen and believe in what he says. You can't teach these two factors. You either have them or you don't. Karrion has them, but wait too long, and it's the WWE that won't have Karrion Kross. He's too good to let slip through the cracks, again. Push Karrion Kross. If you would like to support Karrion Kross, there's more than one way to go about it. The first way is to buy his merch on the WWE shop. That will tell the powers that be exactly where we stand. Another way is to pre-order his book, which comes out this August. I've already done so myself, and I suggest that you do the same. Finally, let's push that hashtag of PushKarrionKross on social media on every platform. The more we talk about him, the more they'll notice. And if you're going to a live event, make sure that you bring your signs, cheer for him every time he comes out, and show your love for him. That does it for this video. Be sure to let me know in the comments down below how you feel about Karrion Kross. If you like this video, click like, and if you really liked it, subscribe. And make sure to click that bell to receive all notifications on future videos. As always, this is Sean signing off, reminding you that no matter what you do in life, be yourself, believe in yourself, and above all else, stay persistent.